Here are 3 discs that I believe every amateur disc golfer should bag. This is not in any particular order, but we're gonna start off with number 3. I'm going to say any disc with the flight number 7502 or something around those numbers. We're talking discs like the Innova T-Bird, the Discraft Athena, the Clash Discs Cookie, the Discmania Instinct. A newer one that I have really been liking is the Dog from Casaplast, 75 negative 0.52 technically, but pretty much the same thing. I wholeheartedly believe these should be in every single amateur disc golfer's bag for a couple reasons. First of all, they're super reliable. They are just the right amount of stability to be able to fly straight, to be able to pan on anhyzer, or be able to just hold a very reliable hyzer line and fade at the end, depending on how hard you decide to throw it. Second of all, they are super versatile. They are great for getting you out of difficult situations. If you need to throw this sort of anhyzer forehand to get out of trouble, it is absolutely perfect for that panning anhyzer. It's truly a get out of jail free card in most situations, and it's also got enough stability to just be super reliable for your stock forehand hyzer or backhand hyzer shots. There's a few different ways you could go. If you're looking for something a little straighter, I would recommend the Cookie or the iDog. If you're looking for something a little more overstable, definitely the Athena, I think is 7402, and then the T-Bird's pretty neutral. You can get them either slightly more overstable or slightly straighter. This is a specific slot in the bag that I think outlines quite a few very needed shots that you will be throwing out on especially local courses. If you're entering into amateur tournaments for the first time, super important discs to have. Also, if you're an amateur disc golfer, I want to put you guys on to Vessi. Vessi is a shoe company that makes the best shoes for disc golf out there. My favorites are the Stormburst high tops, but I've also been rocking the Stormburst low tops. They're really comfortable, they're super grippy, but most importantly to me, they are ridiculously waterproof. I play a lot of early morning rounds or even rounds after it's rained where it's muddy. These shoes will keep your feet bone dry. I've shown it on the channel before, me literally just walking around in water and having absolutely no issue with it. I love hiking in these. They also have a wide variety of styles that you can choose for occasions other than disc golf. But specifically the Stormburst shoes are incredible for disc golf and I cannot recommend them enough. Thank you so much to Vessi for sponsoring this video, and if you would like to try out a pair, you can go to vessi.com/SwankyDG and get 15% off your first order. Moving on to the second disc I believe every amateur disc golfer should bag, we are talking 11 speeds. Specifically somewhere along the flight numbers of 11.5, -1, 2, or -1, 3, -1, 2.5, somewhere in there. Either way, some sort of 11 speed bomber that you can rely on every single time for big distance shots. This video really is specifically for people who are not really classifying themselves as beginners anymore. You can maybe throw up to 400 feet. You're starting to play in tournaments, maybe MA3 all the way up to MA1. Honestly, if you're not throwing like 450 feet consistently, an 11 speed distance driver is going to be your go-to absolute crusher. And I mean, even beyond that, we see things like the Halo Wraith from Garrett Gurthey, and he absolutely crushes those things 500, 600 feet in tournaments. It's absolutely wild. If you're more so on the range of like 375 to 400 being your absolute maximum, I would highly recommend looking to an 11 speed as your go-to big distance bomber. We're talking open field courses where you have a lot of room to throw big panning anhyzer shots, or you're trying to get a full like baby hyzer flip to flat turn all the way S-shape kind of shot. One that I specifically like to recommend is the newer Discraft Drive. The numbers on this are 11.5, -1, 2. This one is just a little bit more neutral, a little bit straighter flying. The plastic on these is incredible. It's soft, it's a little bit gummy, it's gorgeous, and these things are absolute crushers. If you would like something a little bit less stable than that, I would go with the Discmania DD. This thing is definitely more understable. It's an 11 speed though, and it is also an absolute crusher. It's one you'll be able to throw on a little bit more hyzer and get that full flight out of. And then of course, if you're looking for something slightly more overstable than a drive, gotta go with the Wraith. Although it's pretty darn similar, the numbers are, I believe, 11.5, -1, 3. Something else I've been liking a lot recently is the Longhorn from Mint Discs. I found it in this run. This is something we did for a tournament, and this thing crushes. I love this disc a ton. It flies a little bit more like a drive for me. I think that the Longhorn literally just landed inside my bag. There's absolutely no way. Nobody is going to believe me, but this is the disc I just threw. That was like 320 foot throw in the bag. So that's the second disc. Really anything that is 11 speed and is gonna be an absolute crusher disc for you. These are my 4 primary recommendations. And if you don't have quite the arm speed I'm talking about here, like 350 to 400 max distance, that is totally okay. You can still absolutely tear up your local disc golf scene if you're just good at putting, because most people like myself are not. And if that's the case, I would say jump down to a 9 speed. This is kind of an honorable mention. 9.5, -1.2, or a -2.1 even. Those discs will be absolute crushers for you as well and get you a ton of distance that you didn't know you had if you're, you know, sliding in under that 350 max distance sort of zone. Kind of an honorable mention there, but I want to make sure I said it. Before we jump into the #1 disc every amateur disc golfer should bag, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let me know what I missed down below. What is a disc that is an absolute staple in your bag? And I do want to preface, I feel like it goes without saying that you should have some putting putters, and even I didn't include an overstable 4-speed on this list, like a Pig or a Zone or a Toro, something like that. I'm assuming every amateur disc golfer has one in the bag. If you don't though, that's another honorable mention. Get yourself a Zone or a Toro or something like that immediately. That sort of plays into my #1 disc. I'm talking really high percentage shots. And that leads us to our #1. I'm saying pretty much any big crusher throwing putter. My go-to is the Envy, because this thing basically flies like a mid-range. Something that can handle a little bit of torque that you can throw off the tee specifically. There's a lot of approach discs out there, but the reason I'm going with sort of a crusher 3-speed is what I'll call it. The numbers on this are 3302, is again for that reason of high percentage shots. We like to say in disc golf all the time, if you can throw a putter, you should throw a putter. Because of their low speed, they are the most controllable and the most accurate disc you can throw. And there are so many local courses where really all you need is 250 to 300 feet of distance. And as an amateur disc golfer, you really want to hone in that shot with a putter. If you can throw a putter very accurately, 250 to 300 feet, you are going to find yourself in a great position in a lot of rounds, a lot of tournaments, things like that. It's a very extremely useful skill to have for your entire disc golf career, is to be able to really crush on a throwing putter. And you do not have to take my word for it. Go out and play a tournament, and if you get on a card with like an MPO player or somebody a division above you, you will probably notice that they have a throwing putter that they can throw 300 feet every single time, and anytime it's available to them, they're gonna throw it because it is the most controllable shot. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What did I miss? What is a disc that every single disc golfer out there should bag? And of course, again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and we will see you in the next one. Stay swanky.